Caffeine is the most widely used psychoactive drug on planet Earth. It's so popular, in fact, that about 90% of adults consume caffeine in some form, with over 2/3 of adults drinking caffeine regularly. But before we talk more about the effects of caffeine, let's take a closer look at the adenosine sleep pathway. The adenosine sleep pathway is an essential form of synaptic cellular communication, contributing to human wakefulness and sleep regulation. The human body uses the hydrolysis of ATP to complete a variety of cellular activities. One of the products of this ATP breakdown is adenosine. Throughout the day, the body uses lots of ATP, resulting in an increasing concentration of adenosine. As the body uses more energy, more adenosine is produced and plays an important role as the ligand of the adenosine sleep pathway. A ligand is a chemical substance that is used to signal a cellular response during cellular communication. During the normal pathway, adenosine ligand buildup has multiple effects on the central nervous system and brain. Adenosine enters the synapse between neurons and may attach to one of 4 possible adenosine receptors. A1 and A3 receptors are responsible for the stimulation of neural activity, increasing awareness through the release of neurotransmitters like dopamine. Adenosine can inhibit this process from occurring when bound to these receptors. Adenosine can also bind to A2A and A2B receptors that are partially responsible for sleep drive and that are related to the regulation of GABA, a ligand that decreases activity between neurons and results in increased drowsiness. Keep in mind that there are some adenosine receptors in the heart and other parts of the body that have similar functions. The adenosine pathway is a negative feedback loop and involves a complex signal transduction pathway that is not completely understood. Adenosine receptors are G-protein coupled receptors, and when a ligand binds to one of these receptors located on the membrane of a neuron, it initiates a conformational change for A2A and A2B receptors. This change results in the movement of a G-protein to the enzyme adenylate cyclase. Adenylate cyclase facilitates the conversion of ATP into cyclic AMP, which also happens to be the second messenger. The amplification of the signal in the form of cAMP starts a phosphorylation cascade of protein kinases that eventually activates a protein to initiate a cell response. This response involves the phosphorylation of a calcium ion channel, allowing calcium ions to enter the cell while potassium exits. The response may also involve vasodilation. This pathway is related to the release of GABA that can inhibit receptors between neurons and decrease action potential or communication between neurons. In simpler terms, the adenosine sleep pathway helps to make you feel tired. So, how does caffeine affect this process? Caffeine is a stimulant, part of the family of methylanthines. It blocks normal sleep-inducing pathways. When the drug is introduced into the body, it is absorbed through the gastrointestinal tract, where it enters the bloodstream. Caffeine can then travel to the central nervous system and brain, where it enters the synapse between neurons. Caffeine has a fundamental shape that is very similar to adenosine. Therefore, it is able to bind to adenosine receptors but cannot cause a conformational change. This blocks the pathway. When caffeine is in the synapse, it acts as an adenosine antagonist. Competitive inhibition prevents many adenosine molecules from binding to their corresponding receptors and fulfilling the pathway. Caffeine is metabolized by the liver into 3 separate but still very similar compounds: theobromine, paraxanthine, and theophylline. These 3 molecules also have various effects on the body, and overall, caffeine impacts the brain, heart, kidneys, and many other systems. Now that we have an understanding of how caffeine works, we can make sense of its effects. Caffeine is generally safe and not considered an addictive drug, but it does become toxic at about 10 grams, which would be over 100 cups of coffee. Its inhibition of adenosine pathways results in increased awareness and focus. It increases neurotransmitter activity and results in the release of dopamine, which can help enhance brain function while even preventing depression. Theobromine, one of the metabolized forms of caffeine, can boost oxygen and nutrient flow to the brain. Paraxanthine improves athletic performance by increasing fat breakdown, and theophylline raises heart rate and concentration ability. Despite all its benefits, caffeine addiction does exist. People who drink caffeine daily may develop more adenosine receptors to compensate for the pathway inhibition. This can result in a caffeine tolerance, and people may experience minor withdrawal symptoms for abruptly stopping consumption. These symptoms include mild anxiety and shaking, but disappear after about a week or so. Some other negative short-term effects include headaches, dizziness, and dehydration due to increased urination. Ultimately, caffeine remains a fascinating disruptor of adenosine pathways, offering a variety of benefits to society. So the next time you can't get up for school, blame it on adenosine and have a coffee.